Have you ever tried ayahuasca or took any substances to try to get out of body or at least experience something paranormal? Where you're just laying there, seeing some visions and maybe getting some inner knowledge? If yes, please share what was your experience like. Now, recently, I've been working with people, helping them, guiding them through these sessions. With some, I'm just sitting there trying to make sure that this space is secure while they're drinking their broth and, like doing the whole experience. I'm there seeing how their energy is changing, how their vibration, their auras is changing. And at the same time, people who are doing that become like a fire or like a flame attracting the moths. You're so on such a high frequency that they're beings who would like to get your help. So they come to you. And like we have entities and experiences where people might get attacked, might get scared. They see like after doing the ayahuasca, or maybe doing too much weed or, different substances, whatever they wanted to experience, whether it was getting out of body or maybe some, inner knowledge or just like diving deep within to get some, cognitions and stuff. For that, some people they get the negative side. They get to look they get too much too fast. Some get the Kundalini awakening when they're not ready for that. And so breaking their energy shield, allowing other entities to come into your space and getting attacked and stuff, that happens. But also there are people who are either taking care of themselves, have someone guide them, or they've been working on themselves and they have enough awareness where they're ready for these kind of experiences. So whether they do have the Kundalini awakening, whether they do get to the high frequencies, they are aware of the entities, they are aware of the energy changes, and it's really interesting to see what happens. So, some entities, of course, they are attaching to us, coming to us to scare us. You might have experienced this thing where you're going to sleep and your body, fall asleep, you're getting into that sleep paralysis mode, and there's something creepy coming up and scaring the hell out of you to the point where you do not want it happening ever again. So you're avoiding that experience. You're avoiding getting out of body because that was freaky as hell. Real as can be, but too freaky. You don't want to have that again, right? And so getting out of body helps you to get a whole different perception on reality, getting a whole different perception on what is real, what is a dream, what is, like meeting other beings out there, getting the knowledge that you might not get here, or actually learning about something and then later on only reading it in the books or hearing about it in some interviews and stuff. So it's really interesting. And working with people, I've noticed that, you know, of course, there are both sides of stories, the good and the bad. So really depends on people. But it was just like really interesting watching people change, where a lot of entities through the ayahuasca sessions, when you're prepping and doing it well, your frequency is so high that you're like a flame. And you start attracting beings who want help. But naturally, instead of you having to do the whole removal work, entity removal and learning like how they come into your space and identifying them and all this stuff, it happens naturally. You're on such a high frequency, like a flame, that when they get close to you, it's like they disappear or they like kind of teleport into another reality by themselves without you having to do much. So that's like pretty amazing. At the same time, people get this inner knowledge, they get realizations. And so there are many stories to it, but it's also really depends what you're doing, whether it's ayahuasca, whether it's like taking the DMT or mushrooms or opium and all other stuff, like whatever you're gonna experience, right? And then at the same time, it all depends on how much you know, your perception, and things you will tune into, because there are tons of different realities. And if you're looking to learn about something, maybe something specific, like a lot of times it is good to have specific intentions of what you want to get out of these experiences. Whether it is getting out of body, where it is diving deep within and getting rid of the programs that are limiting you, like commands that you might not be aware of, hypnotic commands and some implants and stuff, different triggers from the past, learning about yourself. Like it's pretty cool if you have a target. But if you're going there to just experience, like, okay, just whatever happens, I might get some visuals, I don't know. And going with that curiosity, for some it might be good, for some it's like, well, if you're ready for anything, you might just go on a crazy American roller coaster ride. So that's a thing. But also any kind of substances, sugar, coffee, smoking and alcohol really depends. It affects you. It changes how you feel, your frequency, your vibration, and it tunes you in into a certain reality. Your focus, like whether you're feeling good or bad that day, whatever you're thinking about, however you're feeling, you will tune in into a specific reality where you might meet beings who might be there to help you or who might be there to bully you. Like they see you start like, hey, you just showed up in their world like a filter. Think of like, maybe a movie called They Live. You're looking around and you see a nice reality. You put on glasses and everything around you actually is just a programming thing. So it's pretty much like that. Everything around you, like you're staying in one place, but depending how you feel, what you're focusing on, the substances you're taking, whatever you're consuming daily, whether it's food or, like liquids or your thoughts and, quotes and like knowledge and stuff, anything you consume in that kind of regard affects what you're going to perceive around you. And so, even if you're not aware, a lot of beings will be aware of you. It's you're staying in one place, this one reality that you're seeing, but for others, their reality might be at the same place. It's just that you appear in their world. So, again, also different stories of what happens when you're taking the substances. But for me, it's just like pretty cool learning about the knowledge you can get, learning about the programs you can remove that are limiting you, and at the same time, people who've been working on removing these hardest limiting beliefs that once gotten rid of, you get a real great access into your psychic abilities, or maybe the visuals, maybe the ability to get out of body. There are third parties also limiting us. Not to think that like, okay, you took the substance and the whole experience like might have happened real well. You might have seen visuals and stuff, but at the end, like a few weeks after, you still feel like you're stuck. It's not necessarily your fault. There are third parties watching us. When we're looking at the freelancer agencies and the SSP and stuff, they're very aware of what we're doing, very aware of our consciousness. And think of this, when you're programming, or let's say you have an app and someone acts out in a way that's not good for you, there's a little alarm beeping like, hey, this person, they did a little crime, or there's alert, danger. You have to stop them before they do something bad. So a lot of groups who are more advanced, they have this kind of setting, except it's consciousness that breaks free from your programming, meaning the matrix, consciousness that breaks free from the matrix and is able to actually manifest the reality they want around them. When that happens, it sets off the alarm, and so third parties will come to, mess with us. Whether it's directed energy weapons like remote neural monitoring, voice to skull, or other things, they're able to affect how we feel. And one of the biggest things, it's kind of slowing down the process where we feel like, hey, we did a lot of work. Whether it's like, you working getting out of body or stuff, or simply doing spiritual work or shadow work, whatever you might call it, basically working on yourself. If you have limiting beliefs, if you have logic that is not serving you, any kind of thinking that, incidents happened when you were a kid, it hurt you, it kind of traumatized you. Now you're working on getting rid of those traumas to be able to move on in life, just change your perception, change your archetype, change your character, and basically change your life with that. When it happens, the alarm goes off, they're targeting you, limiting you, and you feel like you're stuck, like all the work you've been doing, you see no results. That happens as well. And so, it's been my target for a while now. I'm learning that throughout all of these sessions, where it's ayahuasca sessions or not, taking substances and working on self, when you have this little support from your surroundings, kind of like a little push or encouragement to get things going faster, there are third parties who get their alarms ringing that you are too dangerous, and so they're coming to mess with you. So if you feel like you might have tried some of these experiences but seen no changes, or it felt like, well, yeah, I tried but nothing happened, or just a little bit, it's not necessarily your fault. You might want to try it again because yes, there are third parties trying to suppress us, but doing it a few more times actually gets a breakthrough, and they can't really hold us down. So it's 50-50 thing. If you're ready, if you're practicing, if you're doing it right, that will, you know, support from your surroundings, whether you're taking some substances or doing self work, inner work, and stuff like that. It's a really good push for getting better and getting your breakthroughs. But some might be afraid because it might be too much too fast. So anyway, I'm just sharing like my insights. It's a pretty cool subject, just being there live, watching people, and at the same time, guiding them into certain visuals, guiding them into meeting with the relatives or meeting with certain beings that will give them the knowledge, and they come back with, like all these conscious breakthroughs of learning about what limits them, what they should know, what's their purpose here in life and stuff. It's pretty cool. So anyway, if you've tried ayahuasca or any kind of DMT, you've had any amazing visuals or not, good or bad, please share your story below. I'm looking forward to reading that. And yeah, thanks for watching. I'll see you next video. Bye bye.